A very good day to everyone. Look what I've got. It's the Sony Zeiss 55mm f1.8. As Sony already released the 50mm f1.2 GM, I think it's a good time to revisit this lens which was released since 2013. This prime lens is very compact and small, measuring only 70mm long and weighs 281 grams. As you can see, it almost looks a bit funny, but it's almost the same dimension as this 50-gram black ground pepper that I've got with me. And of course, lenses like this size and weight is a pleasure to hold and bring anywhere. Here's another side-by-side comparison using this ordinary mouse from Logitech. But looks can be deceiving. This lens has 7 elements in 5 groups, with 3 aspherical elements. These complicated elements are normally hard to manufacture and needs to be patented between different camera makers. This Sony Zeiss lens has 9 circular aperture blades, as you can also see from this close-up shot. And surprisingly, it has this very unique concave front element. One of the trademark of all Zeiss lenses is this T-star marking. It's actually a technically advanced coating to completely eliminate the undesirable effects of stray lights that causes ghosting and flare. This lens is actually preferred and praised by many due to its very responsive and fast autofocus. I was also actually surprised by how sharp this lens is. I mean, it's so sharp, like ultra sharp, like stated from all the reviews in the internet. And yes, tested in the Sony A7 Mark III, this lens is definitely ultra sharp. So I do understand now why this lens receives so many positive reviews online. And even though this lens is more than 7 years old now, photographers are still keeping them. And with this combination of 55mm focal length and a wide aperture of f1.8, this lens is capable of rendering the soft and beautiful out-of-focus parts of an image or bokeh. I have so many sample photos in this video, and if you're going to go along, you might also notice that this lens can produce like a different image character, which I found it unique and perfect. Oops! It also gives like a 3D effect on some of the images. But then of course, this lens is not perfect. Considering its age, one thing to keep in mind is that you might occasionally get some purple fringing when shooting towards the sun or any bright object. But then of course, most of them can be easily fixed during post-processing using Lightroom. And even though this lens is designed to be dust and moisture resistant, you just have to keep an eye because this one doesn't have any rear rubber gasket and no other buttons elsewhere. It is also prone to scratches due to its all-metal construction. And to make sure that all your photos are tack sharp, you have to follow this minimum focus distance. If you're in the market looking for a 50-ish mm lens, here are the options. The 50mm f1.8, Sony Zeiss 50mm f1.4, the new Sony 50mm f1.2 GM, Sigma Art 50mm f1.4, and this beast, the Zeiss Autos 55mm f1.8 designed for Canon and Nikon, but can be used on any Sony mirrorless cameras using an adapter. I personally love the size of the Sony Zeiss lens. It perfectly complements the body of the Sony A7 Mark III. And that's the point of switching to a mirrorless system. It lessens the weight, without sacrificing image quality. By the way, if you find yourself enjoying watching this video, you might also consider subscribing to support this channel. My name is Ryan, by the way, and this channel is named after my son. I also had the chance to use this lens for a bit of astrophotography, and it didn't disappoint me at all. I even captured this amazing Orion nebula. Not too bad compared to a shot taken by a 200mm lens. There's also this Milky Way shot at its galactic core. As you can see, wide aperture lenses are very good for capturing stars in a very clear night sky. And just to let you guys know, I normally use a star tracker when doing astrophotography like this. If you're already following me on this channel, you will know that I released a video regarding a Sony a7 Mark III and Tamron 28-75mm f2.8 mounted in a very compact star tracker. Check it out in the video description below. The distortion is also well controlled, with a bit of minor barrel distortion that can easily be fixed in Lightroom. On a Sony a7 Mark III, the Super 35 mode will also convert this lens into 83mm. It might just use 10 megapixels of the sensor though. This petal-shaped lens hood is also made of metal, which I don't personally like to use because it makes the lens a bit taller. But that's only me. And guess what? I also had the chance to compare this lens to this amazing 85mm lens. But between these two lenses, I only have to keep one of them. A link for that video will be provided in the video description below. So by the way, thank you for your time watching this video. I'll end this one with some more photos and a handheld video at the end. Cheers!